I could put you in the brig for what you've done, but I won't do it.
What the hell's going on out here? Ow! Ow!
Two Owls, One Pod, the podcast from the web series The Two Dicks, 1950s detectives shot in black and white. We have about 17 episodes on YouTube. It's Al Ducharme and Al Romas, less Al Romas. He's not here today, but there's still two of us. And we're going to get into that in a second. I guess he's sitting in for Al Romas. We have a dear friend of mine from stand-up comedy from way back in the day, in the late 90s. We're going to get into it all. He's a stand-up comedian, a restaurateur, comedy club owner, many hats. And we're going to get into all the details. Yeah. My good friend, Andres Fernandez. How are you, buddy?
I'm all right, buddy. I'm all right. I'm really excited to be doing this with you. You know, because I'm making my way back. Yeah, as I'm making my way back to my stand-up career. You know, like you said, I went kind of off a little bit. I started off, but I'll get into it. But I'm making my way back to stand-up comedy. So this is what's going on. This is what's happened in 20 years since I've left. And
I left New York City.
No. Basically, stand-up comedy. Okay. I mean, I owned the comedy club, and so I was still going on stage and still working with comics. But now instead of going on the road, I basically worked at my own club. And now going back, everybody's got podcasts. It's a whole different situation. And so it seems like this is the thing to do. So I'm glad that you guys had me on.
And again, you're filling in for Al. So now I have to pay you $2,500.
I'll take it.
I'm sorry. Hold on. $2. I'm sorry. It's $2.
$2.50.
$2.50. Very good. So this is great. A little bit more background. I know I touched upon it. You and I met at Dangerfield's Comedy Club in the late 90s, and you were starting to get some heat. You had a big management from, I believe, Rick Messina.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Who went on to be Tim Allen's manager still.
Well, he was with Tim Allen before me. So it's not like he went on to get Tim Allen. He had Tim Allen. I was lucky enough.
You were you latching onto the wagon. So he obviously saw your talent when you were a young man. Yeah. And he said, I got to get this guy in my stable here.
Yeah.
So
Tim Allen, Drew Carey. He had Drew Carey. And
yes.
And Drew took me to Iraq with him. It was fantastic. I went there with Jeff Ross.
Wow.
Yeah. Blake Clark. We slept in Saddam Hussein's palace. It was fantastic. One of the best gigs I ever did. It was phenomenal.
We slept in his palace. Was he
there?
We slept
in his house. We slept in his house. He wasn't far off. Let me tell you, because we were joking around that they would probably find him in a hole in Tikrit, and that's where That's where they found him. And he was.
So you were there when it was still intact. The palace.
We were there in 2002.
Wow.
And so they took over the palace. And we just hung out in the palace. It was fantastic. We were smoking cigars, just like, and at a certain point, going, "Is this weird? Is anybody's, just smack me. What's going on here?
That is so surreal. Absolutely.
Yeah.
But I do remember even before around that time, you were hooking up with Messina, and I was like, wow, that's big, because he even had Janine Garofalo.
Yeah.
He had and a few others, and I was like, wow, that's a great stable to be in. And I remember you had a family, you had kids, and you said, we're going west. And I think you ended up, correct me if I'm wrong, didn't you get like a U-Haul and you did gigs across the country on your way?
I rented out a truck, a 28-foot truck, and I packed up all my stuff with my wife and my two kids, and we got a little trailer to hold the car, and then we just moved out to California. And it was it.
That's a reality show right there. Too bad you guys, the reality shows weren't big.
Yeah.
But,
and I set it up, and I had gigs along the way. So, lucky that I can do that in advance. I had this all set up. So I had some gigs in Pennsylvania. Then it was Cleveland. Then we went to Arizona. And so we did the whole thing in about 2 weeks, but we made our way to California, and it was great. It was great.
Now, can you tell me about, here you are, you got your family, you got your kids in tow as well, and you saw a house for sale.
Yeah.
I'm trying to I remember the gist of it. And you talked to the neighbor And then he
Well, when it,
said, my house is for sale too.
yeah,
Right?
yeah, yeah. So what happened was I actually got came out here like during pilot season before we moved out. So I was
Okay.
here in like March, but we moved out here in July. But while I was here in March is when I started thinking about it, and I was looking around, and I went to this one house to see this one house, and talking to that house, this other house was for sale, and that's the one that I bought. And so yeah, so it just and then I came home and told my wife, you know, I bought a house in California. She's like, "Were you going to ask? Were you even going to ask me?" You know, and I was like, "But this is it. You know, let's go. We got to, we're going to
I
make it
made
in
him an
California.
offer he couldn't
That's
refuse.
it. That's it. We're going to make it."
Holy
So
shit. So that was quite the commitment,
yeah,
and
yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
and real estate at that time in California, although expensive, not like it is crazy now. So
Oh, oh,
that was a good move,
yeah. That's the
as
one thing
far as
worked
that.
out well.
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
bought that house. I also have a couple of other houses that I bought and that I still own. And I bought them back in that time, 2002. You know, I bought my two houses. Our house I bought in 2000, and then that my wife now has, because I'm divorced, and she got that house,
That
and then I
never
got the
happens. The wife never gets the house.
no, no. But
No,
we
wait,
but we
wait,
get
we get
along.
it.
Yeah, we get along great now. We're fantastic. In fact, today we're going to get together. It's my grandson's fourth birthday. I have three grandsons.
That's
Yeah,
fantastic too. Yeah,
yeah, yeah,
that's
yeah, yeah, yeah.
how did that feel? Because I've seen your pictures on your Facebook where you're holding your grandson just after he was born, and
Yeah,
it
yeah.
was very
Well, he
touching.
was
Yeah.
my first one was born during COVID, so I didn't get a chance to hold him for 6 months.
Right.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And then my second one, which is the Chase, his birthday is today, and so it's been. I got to tell you, being a grandfather, I missed a lot of years, with my kids being on the road and stuff, and I have to say it's not really all it's cracked up to be. It's no, 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 it's great. I'm making up for lost time with my
I know
grandchildren.
this. I can relate to this feeling because I don't have children, but
Hmm.
my niece now has children,
Yeah,
and they're tiny, and it's the same thing.
yeah.
The christenings and all that, and I have this feeling of, oh, did I miss out on something? But I'm also having this feeling of, oh, this is my family.
Right,
This is
right.
blood.
Yeah,
And
yeah, yeah,
holding them is a different feeling. Whereas when I
yeah.
was young and dumb and running around as a comedian, I'm like, yeah, yeah, great, yeah. But now I'm
Right.
like, that connection is you can't duplicate it.
Absolutely. I mean, I babysit my grandchildren every week. I have a specific day that I want to babysit that I take on for that reason. I mean, I want to raise my kids. I want to raise my grandchildren and be around them and not just be gone. Because I honestly did miss out on a lot with my kids. I mean, I was on the road at least six
You
months out of the year.
you were hustling, it's trying to support your family,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
you
yeah.
didn't know where show business was going to take you, and you knew that you were headlining clubs coast to coast, so you're making
You
income,
just, yeah,
but
you
you're
just
not
do the
there.
gigs.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah, and I can't tell you how many times I'd be on the road for a couple of weeks. I get home and then I get a call that this other gig just came up and it's a decent money gig. And I'm like, "Oh, okay, I'll take it." And I tell my kids and they're like, "Oh, Daddy, not again." I'm gonna just
Yeah.
pack up and go. Yeah, so it's a,
But
it's a heartbreaker.
that's the life we have chosen to be
Yeah,
entertainers. It's in our blood. It's a
yeah,
drive that we have,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
and you have been very successful on many different levels, as we mentioned in your intro.
yeah.
Not only
Which is
is it
also part of my my decline, my mistakes.
sure we get it.
I spread myself out a little too much sometimes.
Now let's go back a little bit though, because you did your family have a bakery when you were growing up, and you became like a certified baker, more or less, correct?
My dad had a bakery in Brooklyn on Sutter Avenue, and we lived above the bakery. And so growing up, my earliest memories, I mean, as far back as I can remember, it's what we did. The bakery was like part of the house. We just went
Hmm.
downstairs every day, and there were people there, and there was a bakery, and my dad was in the back baking, my mom was in the front taking care of customers, and that's just the way we lived. So being in the service industry is also one of those things that I was raised in and I'm used to. And I just kind of like. In fact, I think part of the reason why I went into business was definitely that, but also in the harbor, I lived on a boat there because I wanted to be near the businesses. I wanted,
Ventura Harbor in California. That's what he's
yeah,
referring to.
yeah,
You
yeah,
lived on you lived on a boat,
yeah,
which was
yeah,
100 yards from your comedy club and your
yeah,
restaurants.
yeah,
And I
yeah,
don't
yeah.
remember the order of things that you did it in, but I know you duplicated. You opened up like it was kind of a fancy schmancy bakery eatery.
Yeah. Well, I had
What was the order? What did you do first when you started to stay in town versus going on the
so
road?
the comedy club first in
Okay.
2007, right? And so at that point, I had lost my agent right before that. I don't know if you know TJ Markwalter,
Yeah.
and he was with Omnipop. And TJ went to Gersh, and they didn't take me
Right.
with them. So at that point, I was like, oh God, I got to go back to booking myself again. And then at that very same time, Randy, my partner, Randy Lubis, said to me that there's a club in Ventura that they want to sell. And I was like, I know that club. In fact, I was booked there right before I even took before I bought the club, I was booked. So I went there, actually working the gig, knowing that I'm actually under contract because they were talking to Randy, not to me. And I knew
Right.
that I was going to buy it. And so I love the club. I worked there since when I lived in New York because I used to come
Hmm.
to California every year, and that was at that time called Hornblowers, and it was one of the gigs that I worked. And so I love the club and I love the area. So I was all in. I was like, it's perfect. I just lost my agent. I'm at least booked 6 months out of the year. If
Right.
my partner was a comedian, so I said, well, if Randy's here 6 months and I'm here 6 months, then I've just got to book myself the other 6 months on the road, and the other 6 months I'm here at home. And my kids were
Hmm.
in their mid-teens, so I was like, it's perfect. I'll be now in California. I'll be with my kids. We were divorced, and so it was just one of those things that I said it was a perfect thing. I'll own the club and I'll go into business, and I enjoyed it. I really
And
did. I
you
really
did, and you
yeah
flourished for
yeah
many, many
yeah
years. And
yeah.
when did you decide to get back into the bakery and the restaurant? Because you opened up two other restaurants as well.
So the very next year in 2008, Randy did something that I took offense to.
Hmm.
And so he opened up, we had a menu, and he put in a page that said Randy's private wine reserve. And I said to him, but Randy, we're 50-50 partner. Shouldn't it be Andy and Randy's private wine reserve? And he was just like completely dismissed me. So I opened up a wine bar in the harbor. So, like looking
I've
back on
seen
it
this
now,
before with partners, by the way. They're like, I'm
yeah,
going to get a
yeah.
little side hustle, but I'm going to jump on my partner's coattails without him knowing. It's like, hello.
So well, it wasn't his coattails. It was more like it was only a page. But Randy at the time, and I mean, he's a good guy. I'm not going to
Hmm?
knock him. But
Okay.
we had his personality was different than mine, and he always treated me more like I was the employee, not the partner. And so from the very beginning, I said, I'm
Hmm.
going to put an end to this. You're not going to treat me like this. And so there was a space that opened up in the harbor. And I spoke to the GM of the harbor, and the GM said, "What would you put here?" And I go, "A wine bar." And with that, they gave me the keys, and I went into business, and I opened up a wine bar, and I called it Andres Wine and Tapas Bar. And Randy was furious,
Isn't that
but I
funny how
did
he
it.
became furious? Because I saw this in Boston with Bill Blumenreich, who owned the Comedy Connection,
Yeah,
and his partner, Paul Barkley.
mhm.
And
Yeah,
Blumenreich took the Comedy Connection name and started booking international acts in big venues, like,
right,
like the Wang Center and whatnot, and crushing it, crushing it.
right,
And Paul's like, we're partners. You're using my name. I got to get you got to bring me in 50-50 or at least something.
right,
And he's like,
right.
no, this is separate. And so Paul grabbed some other big partners and opened up a place called The Rack, which was a
Mm,
pool bar live music venue. And they were
yeah,
killing it. And Paul
yeah.
Barkley lost his mind. How dare you do that? We're partners.
Right, right. It's like that I Love Lucy episode where they're fighting over the dishwasher and then it falls over and Lucy goes, Ethel, look what happened to your dishwasher, your washing machine. Right,
That's
right,
hysterical.
yeah, yeah.
But
But
yes, I'm
so
sorry. I had to circumvent there for a sec. Yeah.
no, no, no. So I opened up the next year, I opened up a wine bar. Now, granted, I had a lot of things going on because I knew I could. I mean, I was very handy. I could build a lot of things, and the comedy club was going well and strong. And it was two separate businesses. It wasn't a conflict of interest. It was a completely different business. It was a
Hmm.
wine bar, not a comedy club. But um, but that's what I did. And I went into business and I opened up that wine bar, and it took me about a year to build it. So the very next year, not only did we have the comedy club, but the next year I opened up the wine bar in the harbor, but in another building. And then the next year I bought a cafe called the Savory Cafe. And that was just another, at that point I've been going crazy, because here I am now with three businesses
Mm.
and a cafe I was used to because I worked in the bakery, and so I
Hmm.
knew it. I was in the bakery business my whole life, and so I said, well, I could open up this cafe, and from this cafe would give me a place where I can prepare the right kind of food for the wine bar and the comedy
And
club.
right. So in that thinking, you're connecting it to the other businesses. So it's not like,
Yeah,
again, it's something totally disconnected from what you're doing. You're using it as a food
absolutely,
line, basically.
absolutely. Because the comedy club didn't have a big enough kitchen,
Hmm.
nor did the wine bar. The wine bar had little snacks and stuff
Hmm.
like that, but it wasn't a big enough kitchen to really draw people in for the food. And so with that, I said, well, if I had this cafe, I could prepare everything there and then bring it to the other locations. And so it was a great idea, with the exception of three different business models, are
Within walking
really
distance, that's the only thing that saved you there, right?
but not the cafe. The cafe was 3 miles away. It was in the
Oh,
downtown.
that was
It was
downtown.
it was
Yes.
downtown. And
Yeah.
so so there it was a real because the wine bar was open all day until the night. The cafe was open early morning from my bakers went in at 4 o'clock in the morning till 3 in the afternoon. And the comedy club was till from 6 o'clock basically till about 1 in the morning. And so I
Right.
was just working round the clock for 3 years, and it was just insane. So eventually
Wow.
I had to get rid of one of them. So I have a little bit of workaholism. And
Well, again, when you were firing on all pistons, it was all happening. But at this time, you weaned yourself from going on the road, correct?
yeah, at that
Because
point
you,
I
you
couldn't
couldn't, because you were
e-
doing
e-
80-hour weeks.
from the first year with the comedy club, I couldn't do it anymore. I had a couple of gigs that I
Mhm.
took, and then little by little, I just stopped taking gigs. I just stayed there in the harbor. By the next year, that's when I bought the boat because I couldn't even come back and forth to Santa Clarita. That was a 50-minute drive,
Oh, I
and
was going to
after a while,
ask
I
you,
said,
where was your setup? Because your original house that your ex-wife ended up having, you
in
bought a
Santa
house,
Clarita,
right? You bought a house not far away, correct? Before you got
right?
the boat? Yeah.
Yeah.
I see.
So I've got the one house in Santa Clarita is when we got out here in 2000, and then
Hmm.
in 2002 I bought two houses in Santa Clarita as well. And so I had
Investment
those two
properties.
houses, investment
Yeah.
properties, and I
Mhm.
spent a number of years building them. And in fact, it took me about 5 years to rebuild them and remodel them. When I was done with that is when I had the space to go into business,
All right. So you
2007.
built up a foundation of businesses, cash flow. Because I remember you working
Yeah.
on them. You bought all these tools and everything, and
Yeah,
you're
yeah,
doing
yeah,
tile
yeah,
work and
yeah. Well, I mean,
yeah.
I got everything. I built a lot. I mean, I built furniture. I do framing,
Wow.
plumbing, electric. I do it all. Masonry. I do it all. I'm Cuban. That's what we
I'm
do.
Cuban.
That's what.
That's what we
That's
do.
it. That's it. Cubans. That's what we do. We build everything.
Well, my background is in that too. My father would buy these three
Oh,
family homes
hmm.
and cut them right down the middle and make six apartments. So he was
Yeah.
constantly renovating. He
Right.
would hire a plumber and an electrician, but he and I did all the, I was a
Hmm.
teenager helping my dad, so I learned all these skills. I'm not very good at
Yeah.
any of them, but I know how to do
Yeah.
them,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's in your blood.
And I mean, well, I do it because my dad did the same thing. My dad had
Mhm.
houses in Florida. He had like six houses in Florida, the one in New York, aside from the businesses. So we were always fixing and building something. And my dad, I have this one bit that I do we never had tools. We fixed everything with a butter knife because my dad, all of his tools were bakery tools.
Give me that
And he'd
whisk.
go, that's it. That's it. He'd go out there cementing the driveway, and we had spatulas. You know what I mean? It's crazy. And
Uh,
That's where I come up with the bit that my mom, every project starts with, we can do it, but it always ended with, nobody gonna see that, because that's
This
what my
story
dad,
is this is a series right here,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
This is
yeah,
that's
yeah.
great. Yeah, but
But that's
again,
but that's the way Cubans are. We do everything ourselves, and so I
but
was raised like that.
how thankful are you to have all those skills? Because it was a
Absolutely.
pain in the ass as a teenager because
Uh-huh.
I wanted to do the teenage stuff, but learning even just the basics, I'm so happy that I have that. And I've been able to
Yeah.
do, I had a couple investment properties myself over the years,
Hmm.
and I would take on as much as I could until it got too big and then I'd
Yeah.
hire it out. But
Yeah.
it just makes you feel whole, like I can accomplish anything, you know?
Yeah, and I really do love it. I'm working on my house again because my son now moved back to California. He was in Austin for a couple of years. He worked for TikTok for many years, and so he was able to work remotely. And so now he still works remotely, but he wanted to be back in California. So he came back and he's living in one of my houses. So I'm renovating the house for him. And same thing, I'm doing all this work and I like it. And it works great, especially for comics, to be honest with you, because we have that kind of time when we're home to do this kind of thing. We could never, or I could never find like a job. Like when I had the businesses, I couldn't go on the road.
Right.
But if I'm a comic, I got plenty of time when I'm home. That's what I did for those 5 years. I go on the road, make whatever money I had, come back home, buy supplies, work on the house for a couple of
Hmm.
weeks, go back on the road. And so it worked well for me that I can have like an investment property and still be able to work without it being a job, you know.
Right, right, right.
'Cause, I mean, who would hire a comic? So we're unemployable. I mean, a lot of us, I'm sure, have a lot of skills, but if you're a comic and you're on the road, you're unemployable. There's no way you can do anything else unless it's something remotely or something you can
Yeah.
do
I
and pick up at your home.
I can do all those things. I just choose not to, as long as I'm still getting comedy gigs or, related to it, voiceover
Right,
work or whatever it is. Like,
right.
that's what I go. I did the manual labor stuff with my dad, who was, that's what he did, is how he built up his businesses.
Yeah,
I'm thankful for the skills, but I'm also thankful that I don't have to rely on it for a living.
yeah, yeah,
So
yeah,
I kind of been very lucky, but I
yeah,
can, if I had
yeah.
to, fall back on it.
Well,
But
I got to tell you, that's what I'm hoping to get back to now because after all these years of running businesses, I'd like to get back to my career. And I got to tell you, at 61, going back is really a challenge, you
It
know?
it, it is. It's still a challenge for me to be out here. I'm on a cruise ship right now. It's actually become a majority of my income now, but I'm okay with that. After the COVID thing, it's just I'm like, all right, I guess I'm doing this, because we're
Yeah,
similar in age. I'm like
yeah.
I'm grateful for it and all that. Back up just a little bit. There was you had a grilled cheese place. Was that one of
So
the other businesses converted, or was that separate?
that it was converted. So what I did was once I had the cafe and I realized it was just too much going on, I I put the two businesses up for sale, the wine bar and the cafe. And I
Hmm.
said, whichever one goes first, I'm going to get rid of. I put them up, somebody bought the cafe. So once
Right.
they bought the cafe, then I had to come up with an idea for the wine bar. And that's when I had the idea, okay, now I don't have that big kitchen anymore. But I came up with this idea about grilled cheese. And I said to myself, because it was really difficult finding a good cook, finding good bakers, and they're very unpredictable, you know? And so I said to myself, if I make grilled cheese sandwiches, you've got to be a moron not to know how to make a grilled cheese sandwich. So I turned the wine bar into a full bar.
Right.
And that's another thing because I don't drink. And so if you're not a sommelier, wine is really difficult to sell because people want somebody there that's really knowledgeable. And I had a sommelier that left. And when he left, I lost a lot of business. So I
Hmm.
realized, you know what? I'm better off just running a bar. So I got a full liquor license. And then I came up with this idea of grilled cheese. And I said, instead of a bar and grill, I'm going to make it a bar and grilled cheese. That was
That's,
it.
I know. I've actually eaten there, and it was fantastic.
And it was
Um,
it was great. It was a great business. It was a great theme. The kitchen ran well. It was the perfect idea, and it's what gave me enough money to then expand and build the Cuban restaurant.
right, right, right. So
And,
you
and then
kept
that was
parlaying
my
stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, and that was my next restaurant, and that one was right next door to the 805 Bar and Grilled Cheese. So it's
Hmm.
like my brilliance and my idiocy, my coming together because it was so crazy. All right, I said to myself, there's a sushi restaurant next door. I knew that their kitchen was right behind my kitchen, so if I buy them out, I can have the whole patio, expand my liquor license. It'll be one business, but with two different names, two different concepts. So I opened up the Cuban restaurant next door to the grilled cheese restaurant. I broke through. I made it
You
one.
did break the wall down then, right?
Yeah, I
And you put
broke
a
the wall
door to
down.
separate
It was
because you
just
started producing stand-up comedy there on a smaller
Well,
scale,
no,
intimate.
that's when I lost the comedy club. This was after COVID when I
Right.
lost the comedy club. So
Yeah.
Randy left the end of 2019, right before COVID. Okay. So we separated. Randy left. I kept the comedy club. And
Hmm.
then 3 months later, we went into COVID. So now the comedy club is closed down. The all my restaurants are closed down, but the comedy club was closed for a year. If you remember back then,
Oh,
the
I
all
remember it well.
yeah, theater is
Oh,
right. We were all out. Anything with entertainment, we were out for a
yeah.
year, and so the restaurants were out for 6 months. So after I opened up again and I renovated the comedy club, I spent a ton of money renovating, putting in new computers, doing all kinds of stuff. Then the harbor came back and told me that I had to pay my back rent, and
Wow.
the back rent was $100,000.
With no business coming in for a year.
Yeah, yeah,
Wow.
yeah, yeah. And so at that point, I told him, I said, listen, if you push me, I'll just take the comedy club and do it in my restaurant downstairs. And
Mhm.
they were like, that's a great idea. Why don't you do that? And they wanted me out. They wanted that
Yeah, they
space.
wanted the
And so
space. Yeah.
that's and so that's what I did. I closed the comedy club and I put it downstairs. So now I had a grilled cheese Cuban comedy club. And
One-stop shop. Come on. That's amazing. Are you
the
kidding me?
first
How creative is that?
the first and only of its time. Okay, this if anybody claims to be another grilled cheese Cuban comedy club, they're lying. I'm the one and only.
The original, the OG. That's
That's how
fantastic.
that's how stupid I am. Sometimes I do crazy shit. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
you're an artist too. That's it. You're an
It,
artist and a
at
businessman and a creator.
at
You
the
got
time, it made all the sense in the world. Just bring it
absolutely.
downstairs. I'll have everything in one place. I won't have to be running around. And that's what I did. A grilled cheese Cuban comedy club. And
My
and
wife
it,
Bernadette, we both performed there a
yeah,
couple of times. That
yeah,
was
yeah,
fun. A
yeah,
lot
yeah,
of
yeah,
it was
yeah.
a little bit more intimate than the big club upstairs, but it
Yeah,
was people were there to see comedy and we had a great time
yeah,
and
yeah,
it
yeah,
was
yeah,
awesome.
yeah,
And
yeah,
it was always sold out.
yeah, yeah. Well,
No,
you're gonna
there's
sell
only
out when
three
you got four.
seats. No,
You got.
that's the
That's
joke.
right.
No, whatever it was, I don't know what you had there, but it was
Yeah.
like it was intimate and it was great.
Seriously, it was only about 50 people.
That's what I'm
That's all
saying.
we
It was
could fit.
perked. Yeah,
That's
yeah,
all we
yeah.
can fit.
So
You know.
where is that now? Is that did you liquidate that too? Are you
So I got rid of that as well because part of what the Harbor wanted was not only back rent for the comedy club, they wanted back rent for my restaurant. So
uh
the only way I got out of the back rent for the comedy club was to leave it, and the same thing with the restaurant.
the thing about the harbor is I'm assuming that they had some federal help because they lot
Yeah,
and
yeah,
taxed they wanted spaces back. That's what they wanted.
yeah, and in
Yeah,
fact, that
yeah,
space is
yeah,
still
yeah,
open. That space is still available. Could you imagine? They
yeah.
pushed me out, and the thing is still vacant for the last 2 years.
Yeah, they were it's like why don't we just take the revenue that this guy's bringing in? But
That's
whatever.
what I'm saying. I was paying my rent, but they wanted the back rent, and I said, "Listen,
Mm.
I can give you like 1,000 a month." They were like, "That's not gonna, you can't do this for 160 months. You can't, you
There was no
can't."
business. You know that.
That's it. That's it.
And those guys have
So
big money.
yeah,
They're moving stuff around, but then they're starting to think, oh, you know what? We can use the write off. We'll say it's vacant and write it off so that we can
however they worked it
qualify.
out.
Yeah, whatever.
Plus,
Those guys are big number guys. Yeah.
plus the fact that I've been there for 10 years. So I was getting, I'm assuming from their perspective, a cheap rent,
Mm.
where now maybe the rents were something else that they could warrant getting, who knows, double the money. But at the time I was still paying 10,000 a month. I was paying 10,000 for my restaurant and 10,000 for the comedy club.
Whew.
So 20,000 a month I
And they
had to
don't
pay.
count that you were a great tenant for so many years, and then
We were there for 18 years,
yeah,
you
yeah.
know? I mean,
Wow.
Randy and I, what we did with that comedy club, I got to tell you, it was fantastic. I mean, that comedy club never saw numbers like we did. When we took it over, they were doing shows Friday and Saturday. We at one point had it where we were doing shows 7 days a week. Okay. I mean, we were doing it for the most part, it was always Wednesday through Sunday. We had two shows Saturday, two shows Friday. I mean, and we brought in great comics. I mean, we were doing really well. And the only problem we had was when Levity opened up about
Right.
3 miles away. When
Yeah.
Levity opened up is when everything started to go
Yeah,
downhill
yeah.
for us.
Unfortunately, yeah. That's
Yeah.
business, you know. You take the risk.
Yeah.
You guys
Yeah.
did
Yeah.
have a good run there. It's just
Yeah.
funny how the harbor, the corporation, wherever they are, they're getting like $3, $4 million off of you guys in rent.
Yeah.
And they
Yeah.
go, and then COVID happens and they're like, we want the background. You're like, come
Yeah.
on. You
Yeah.
guys were able
Yeah.
to invest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Although even that I understand it because, like you said,
Yeah. It's
we
business.
also have private business, we have businesses. I'm a landlord, and so if they told me that I couldn't collect any rent and I couldn't get it back, I mean, what am I, how am I going to pay my mortgage?
Sure.
And
No,
so,
no, it's important. I had that too
oh,
with
yeah,
tenants. When I had
oh,
tenants, it was like, they're like,
right,
oh, he lost a job. He's going to get another job. And you're like, okay, well, what can you pay? It
right,
was the ones that ignored me. It was an
right,
issue. It's like, you're making
right,
this worse. Talk to me,
right,
communicate with me.
right, right,
That's it.
right.
But
So, the point is that COVID was really
yeah, that's out of
just,
nowhere. We
it,
were,
it,
nobody was prepared for that. That was
it
cuckoo.
was so tough on everybody,
All right, so let's catch up to speed now. So now the businesses are liquidated, but you have a new you're doing like a cooking show.
So what I did was once I closed the businesses up, I've been really thinking about what to do, to be
Hmm.
honest with you. I've been kind of like just a couple of different things. Clearly, stand-up comedy was one of the things that I thought of.
Hmm.
Cooking again, or managing a restaurant or a comedy club. There's a couple of comedy clubs that I talked to that I was thinking about maybe managing something because
Hmm.
I could do that now.
Hmm.
I'm pretty qualified after 17
Oh,
years of running a
I would
comedy club, and
businesses across the boards. Yeah.
that's one of the things I'm sure I could do well, but I'm not really sure what I wanted to do. So I've been kind of toying around with a few things, my sculpting, because I take that from my
Right.
building. So I've been sculpting for years, and so I'm thinking about something like that. But then finally I said, you know what? The easiest thing to do right now is my cooking. So I started creating a business that I do out of my house. And it's a legal kitchen. It's a certified, in fact, here's my certificate. I turned my house into I turned my house into a legal kitchen. I had the health department come here, certify it, and it's a restaurant basically now.
I
So
would have never thought of that. I would have
I'm reliving my childhood. I live in a restaurant.
above or whatever, adjacent, whatever, shared shared structure.
And I gotta
Wow.
tell you, I enjoy it. I do. I do my work. So I only work 2 days a week, Monday and Tuesday. I put out my menu on Thursdays. People
Hmm.
order by Sunday. I know exactly what I'm gonna make Monday and Tuesday. And then Monday I buy my supplies. I do my first prep. Tuesday I cook off everything and then deliver it or they pick it up on Tuesdays. And so it's really something I enjoy actually because it's cooking like the way I used to like cooking in my house and making different meals every week,
But not 80 hours a week.
but
And
not 80 hours a week.
the commute is convenient.
Yes, yes, yes. And what I like about it is I'm specifically tailoring this so that I can leave myself available for Wednesday through Sunday to take on gigs. So
Okay. So you're making
yeah,
training up your schedule. All right.
yeah.
I jumped ahead quite a bit, but I believe you went to Cuba. You made 11 trips to Cuba.
So during COVID, right? During COVID, I had this idea, okay, and it came to me. I'll try to make it as quick as possible. During COVID, I started working with the Canyon Club, and I was trying to
You booked
merge
me, by
with
the
them.
way.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay. I was trying to merge with them. So my thought was, now that I've lost my partner and we're in COVID, I said the best thing for me to do is to merge with a company like the Canyon Club. They had like 6 or 7 different venues. They booked bands, also
Music. Yeah.
comics, music. So I said if I
Foo
merge with
Fighters,
them,
by the way.
yeah. Oh. I mean, we did everything. We midget wrestling. We did drag shows. We did everything.
Al
And Randy and I
Ducharme.
did. That's right. We have a drag show, and now Al. This, we
Uh,
seriously, and Randy and I did the same thing. Randy and I had shows like you can't believe. I mean, just craziness. Aside from, I mean, granted, stand-up comedy was 90% of what we did, right? 80 to 90% of what we
but
did.
those Monday,
But
Tuesday, Wednesday nights.
we dueling pianos,
Mhm.
drag shows. I mean, we did everything, burlesque shows. We had all kinds of shows. Anything that people would come to, we
Mhm.
put on a show. So the Canyon was the same way, and I loved it. And I said to myself, maybe that's what I'm intended to do: sell off these businesses to the Canyon, and then work for them and be one of their A players. And that's all I
Mhm.
do is now just book shows or manage, nightclubs and stuff. And so that was my plan. And I worked for them for about a year during COVID. And then I had a problem with one of their employees that I have to honestly say, I came to realize I don't think I could ever work for anybody again. Once you run a business for a long time and you go
Mhm.
into something and people aren't working the way, yeah, that was
The
right for me.
adjustments are too
It's
much.
just
Yeah.
you know what it is, to be quite honest, it's really when people are basically ass kissing and 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 trying to throw somebody else under the bus. I can't play those games.
Mhm.
For me, it's about work. We gotta have a
Mhm.
job to do. Let's do this job. I have no need to badmouth. I have no need to backstab. I have no need to, to put you down so I can rise above. I'm not playing that game. And with that, there was too much of this going on that I just said, you know what? I'm out of here. And I quit. Once I quit, I'm sitting there going, okay, now what do I do? Now I'm back to the same situation.
What
I
am I
got
going to do
my.
with Al Ducharme's calendar? I can't fill it.
So I literally quit my job. I resigned my job. I go home and I'm watching Stanley Tucci searching for Italy. And I said
Yeah.
to myself, if that show was out of Cuba, it would be phenomenal. It would help my Cuban restaurant, right? It would promote
Mm-hmm.
my Cuban restaurant. It would get me out of the restaurants into back to my career.
Mm-hmm.
And I would connect with my family that I've wanted to since 2016. So suddenly I had this idea. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go to Cuba and film a documentary on being, because I've never known my family. I went to Cuba for the first time in 2016 when Obama was in office, and there
Right.
was a little bit, and the embargo was dropped for a little while. So I did that. So during COVID, I started going back to Cuba. I went to Cuba 11 times one year. Every month I was going there. And my
Wow.
thought was if I go there one week out of each month and really experience the whole year,
Mm.
that would be a great way to experience going to Cuba and kind of living there, trying to really live there like a Cuban. And that's what I did. I mean, not only did I get connected with my family, not only did I meet a lot of people, I bought a car in Cuba. I have a 57, I have a
No,
57
a
Dodge,
Chevy? Oh, Dodge. Okay.
Dodge, a
Okay.
Dodge, a Dodge Kingway. But I've made great relationships. Roberto Celle is one of my best relationships. He was Fidel Castro's photographer for 30 years.
I
I
remember
go
you
there.
telling me this.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I go there on my third visit, my third time, and I forget the wire to charge my camera. With that, my family scrambling around trying to help me. I'm in Cuba with my camera and no charge. She goes, "We know somebody who knows like a photographer." I go to his house, and as he's looking through his boxes for a wire, he goes, "What are you doing here?" And I tell him, and he goes, "Do you know who I am?" And sure enough, I mean, he's this man who's just so rich with Cuban history and connections. And he's been my cameraman since. And so every time I go to Cuba, he films with me. We talk about Cuba, the history, Fidel
Wow,
Castro.
that's so
It's
rich to have that.
unbelievable. Look
That
him up.
wire was meant to happen. You forgot the wire.
It's
If you
unbelievable.
didn't forget the wire
I
and
would have
brought it
never
with
met
you,
him.
You wouldn't have got this whole rich
I wouldn't
experience
I would have never met him.
connection.
And
Wow.
I'm still in contact with him. And in fact, now with everything going on, he tells me this is the time to come here and film now.
Well, he's
This is
here
the
now
time.
with me. He's filming the
No, no.
podcast. Come in front of the. He doesn't like to be in front of the camera. All right, all right.
But look him up, Roberto Celle. He's done documentaries about
Sure.
Fidel. He's a well in Cuba. He's one of the premier
So now Cuba
documentarists
is facing a major crisis right now because of the political atmosphere and the oil. And
with
again, these
Venezuela.
embargoes. Venezuela was where they got there. So there's a lot of things going on there. Is this why he's telling you to
Now is the time.
come there?
Now is the time. There's a lot going on down there. That now I mean, it's a major time in Cuban history where there's going to be massive changes. I mean, you heard
Yeah.
Rubio just last week was talking about that that he promises we're doing this for the good of the Cuban people.
There's two
But right
sides to
now,
that. Yeah. There's always two
yeah, yeah.
sides. Yeah.
Right now there's a real stranglehold happening right now to Cuba. Really, it's
Uh,
really bad.
uh,
I mean,
yeah. I mean, this is all the potential things. This is the opportunity. But you've already filmed a lot of stuff. You've
yeah,
also tell me about the program or what you were doing. You were giving eyeglasses to children
yeah,
who
yeah.
didn't never had any eyeglasses and they had vision issues. And then
So
you're giving them eyeglasses for the first time.
So
That's
the first one was this boy Kevin. So every time I went there, I would go there with two duffel bags filled with things, aspirin, Band-Aids, whatever I can fit in there to obviously leave there. And that's what Cubans like myself do. If we go there to visit, we bring whatever we bring and we leave it there. And that's, believe it or not, that's something that in the Cuban economy is actually factored in gifts that
wow.
people gifts that people bring in, you know.
Necessities that they can't normally get anywhere.
Yeah,
It's
yeah, yeah,
the basic,
yeah,
some of them very basic Band-Aids, like you're saying. But
yeah,
go ahead.
yeah. And
Hmm.
so one trip, one of my cousins tell me that there's this boy Kevin who can barely see, and he won't be able to even go to school because he can't see, not
Hmm.
even to read. He just can't see. So with that, I when I was here in California, I went to Eyeglass Factory. I'm driving by the way, before I went in there, and there was a huge sign that said free glasses for kids who need them. So I go in there and I go, listen, I got a kid who needs glasses, but he's in Cuba. Okay, can you help me with this? And the owner, Greg, was just same thing. He came and he asked me, "What are you doing?" I told him, and he said, "You know what?" He goes, "Yeah, get me the prescription." So we hooked up with a doctor in Cuba, an
Hmm.
optometrist in Cuba. They were able to give him his prescriptions, send me that, and then I went to Eyeglass Factory. Eyeglass Factory filled it, and they had a picture and
Phenomenal.
dimensions of the kid. And then I took him back on my next trip. With that, Eyeglass Factory donated 100 pair a year. So
Wow.
every, so it turned out that this one kid, Kevin, somebody told somebody
Hmm.
else they needed more. So every trip I took for at least 10 kids for the whole year. And Eyeglass Factory is willing to give me as many as I need. And
I've
so
seen
it was
some
a
footage
beautiful,
of you
yeah,
giving the kids their
yeah,
glasses and putting them on for the first time, and they're like, "Oh!"
yeah, yeah, yeah,
And
yeah, yeah,
they're
yeah,
just like, you can tell this is
yeah,
amazing to them.
yeah.
When I put my reading glasses on, I'm amazed. So, you know,
In one of those clips, what's really amazing is that that kid Kevin, the first kid that I got glasses for, his mother, if you notice, has the same problems as he has these thick, thick glasses that she has been wearing since she
for
was like 7.
wow,
And I eventually got her glasses. But this is how
updated,
bad, because there's no way that they can get new glasses. So it's
right?
amazing. They just don't have the kind of money, the kind of,
Access. They just
resource.
don't. Yeah, I know
Yeah,
it's socialized. I'm hoping the eye exam was free for him, but for the kids because it's a
right.
part of yeah. But
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's part of
still,
socialism.
that's as far as they can get. They can get the eye
Yeah,
exam, but they can't get the glasses.
yeah,
You can't.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Wow.
Cuba produces a lot of doctors, but they can't produce the medicine. They can't produce some of the things that they need to remedy these problems. And
Mm.
it's one of the problems in Cuba. And so I'm grateful that Eyeglass Factory did that and helped me with that. And it's one of the things that I didn't go there with like I'm gonna find the cause or anything like that. It just naturally happens. And so when something like that happens, you kind of go with it, that this is what they need and this is what I can help with. And
Mm.
so because I didn't know whether it was gonna be eyeglasses, baseballs. I didn't know, what they
Mm.
really needed, but they need everything. Everything,
And do you
you know.
still have, are you free to come and go? Do you have dual citizenship or is it just your U.S. passport
No,
will?
no, no, I don't have dual citizenship. But I'm free to come and go because I am firstborn Cuban, firstborn American.
Right.
So they allow me for that reason. I believe it's the next
Because
generation
of
that
family.
can, right,
Yeah.
because of family. So I can go for that reason. I also go because it's called, there's a thing that they call for the people. So I also have a tour that I take people. I took 6 teachers to Cuba and I
Oh, I remember
created
that. I remember that.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I took these teachers, and it's a great tour. Showed them all around Havana, took them to artist homes. It was phenomenal. They loved it, loved it, loved it. And I want to continue doing more things like that. It's just a great experience because we've been closed off for 60 years from them.
And
And
as you
so
know, I don't know if you remember, I'll jump in here. Bernie and well, I took a cruise when Obama opened things up and the Royal Caribbean was able to go there. So I
right,
got booked. I said, I want a
right,
Cuban cruise. I want a Cuban cruise. And I took
right.
Bernie as my guest, my wife, Bernadette, and she's been wanting to go forever, you know.
Mm, mm,
That's right
mm,
up her
mm.
alley. And
I
it was phenomenal. We were only there for a week and we went to different ports just in
Mhm.
Cuba, but
Wow.
it was a phenomenal experience and we've been wanting to go back.
Yeah,
And then they
yeah, yeah.
stopped the cruise ships from going when Trump was elected.
With Trump.
You know,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
what they did. But
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm hoping is going to happen to my career, that I'll go back to doing gigs, back to doing cruises, and get on ones that are going to Cuba would be phenomenal for me.
right.
Would be
Yeah,
great.
tying it in with that. So uh, that's your goal now. You could leave tomorrow if you wanted to, or do you have to do a bunch of red tape paperwork because of the
No,
current?
no, I can go right there. We can get our
You get some cigars for
our
your buddy Al. What?
that I can't legally
Oh,
do that.
everybody asked the same question. You must be bombarded.
But believe it or not, you can. I mean, I can get a visa when I go to Miami, but we are not allowed to bring back cigars. You
Not
can smoke
two,
them.
like for you got to smoke them there, right? So, okay, I get because when I was
Nothing.
there on the cruise ship at the time, I could purchase and I could do it all, but a limit. There was a limit to how many you
Yeah,
could.
yeah, yeah.
And
Well, the thing is, the law is very specific.
mm,
You can do whatever you want when you're there. You can do whatever you want in transport if you can smoke it on a ship. But you cannot come to the United States with anything from Cuba. Rum, cigars. It's completely, while the embargo's in place, you cannot bring that into the United States.
so what's in here?
I'm just saying. I'm just saying. The law
I
is
got you.
what the law
It's on the
is. Yeah.
books. It's a thing. If they look, they look. If they don't, they look the other way. I get it. I get it.
Right, 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 right. But the law is very specific. You cannot bring a cigar into the United States.
Hmm.
So that's it. That's it. That's all I can say.
Well, I'm wishing you the best with that. I hope you get back there sooner than later. Now you're
Yeah,
back into stand-up comedy.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
are you gonna hit the road again? Are you gonna try just do
Well,
California
no,
or?
no, I'm trying right now. Right now, believe it or not, cruises is one of the things because a lot of my friends are telling me
Mhm.
that the work on the cruise ships are fantastic, and so a lot of my friends, a lot of our friends are doing cruises now, and
Mm.
it's great. I mean, I did cruises years ago before I got the comedy club, and it was just a little bit different work back then. Uh,
Right,
you know,
right.
but yeah, because back then it seemed like you needed to do those two 45-minute shows and farewells and welcome aboards.
Those still exist, by the way, but it's rare. A lot of them have comedy clubs. They'll have two
Right,
comedians.
right,
Some have three.
right,
But that's changing too. They're trying to figure it out. Others
right.
are They'll have the traditional, you do 2:45 family shows, and then you do a late night adult show, 30 to 45. It can
Right.
be a little bit more blue, but it's constantly changing as well. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, I think I'd like to get into that now. I mean, part of the problem I had with them at the time was that my kids were still small
Hmm.
and cell phones weren't what they were now. And so when I got on the ship, I was completely out of contact. I got those little cards that were whatever they cost, 20 minutes, and I'd talk to the kids and my wife for 3 minutes or whatever, you know what I mean?
Sometimes with
And
the
we,
delay.
yeah. And so it was just not really
Mm.
appealing to me, that kind of work. But now my kids are grown and
Well,
you
they're
know,
adults. You're a
yeah,
grandfather, so
yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah. So it's
yeah.
a
So
whole other
that's
world.
what are they going
And
to do
so
about their babysitter when you start going on the road again?
well,
It's going to be costly.
yeah,
Babysitters
yeah,
don't get babysitter money when we were growing up.
yeah.
They're like
Can
they
can you
get
take
medical, they get dental.
maybe I'll take them with me on the gig, right? You can take a guest with you, right?
Oh, you can
Yeah, that's fantastic. That's fantastic. Yeah,
volunteer. No, I get it. Family, I get it. I get it. I get it.
yeah,
This is phenomenal. I'm wishing you all the best getting back in it. You certainly were a force to reckon with doing stand-up comedy. You're always a heavy hitter. I used to enjoy watching your material on stage, especially when you started getting into the family stuff because it
hmm
was new. You were young. Now
yeah.
you get the grandfather stuff to tap into.
Yeah. Well,
And
that's completely my new angle. I mean, right now, I mean that's I was at the Comedy Magic Club last week and in Hermosa, and I basically opened up the show with, where are my seniors? Well, I'm not there yet, but I'm in training. I'm watching you guys. I'm
I'm
seeing
taking
what's
your
happening because
cue.
it's yeah, because in 4 years I'm going to be there. You know what I mean? So
Right,
right now
right,
I'm
right.
watching everything. I'm learning. So that's kind of, I mean, we're all going to hit that, and so
Yep,
it's nice to be
yep.
there. And I think now at this point, I think I'm going to appreciate my career more than I ever have, honestly. I was
Well,
always I was always so busy with things that I
mm,
never really said to myself, don't just write on stage, because that's how I basically wrote all my bits. It's like
hmm
everything I did was on stage, just coming up with
hmm
it and remembering it and keeping it. Now it's like I really want to sit down and just have fun with it, and really enjoy myself. And so
Well,
I
you have
I
so
think
much to draw from,
yeah,
This is great. Welcome back to stand up. Keep us informed. I'm gonna, if I have your permission, I'd like to put up, you sent me a couple of clips. If
yeah,
I can capture them, I'd like to throw them up for the visual. We
that'd
have
be great.
audio and a visual. So wherever you listen to your podcast, Two Owls, One Pod, and then we have a Patreon page where our members can see the video of this
Fantastic.
episode and some of your clips. If I have your permission.
Absolutely.
Oh,
Absolutely.
all right.
Then
I
I
got to
like
send you
Cuban
some legal
cigars.
documents. Andres, thanks so much for coming on. We appreciate that. We're
Yeah.
sorry Al Romas couldn't be with us,
Yeah, I'm
but
sorry I couldn't see Al too because it's been 25 years since I've
we're
worked
going to
with
have to
him.
get you back on when he's got a
Yeah,
good connection. And that's
I'd love
that's
that.
why we don't have a lot of guests on because since
Mhm.
we're both working cruise ships 75% of the time, having a guest is always can be an issue. Sometimes it's
Yeah,
perfectly smooth.
yeah,
And but this you and I, our connection was kind of perfect today.
yeah. This is fantastic.
He's
Fantastic.
at sea. I'm anchored.
Yeah.
So
So say hello to Al for me. All right.
I
Tell him I
will.
said,
I will,
yeah,
pal.
yeah, yeah. Yeah.
You're
Let's
the
not let
best.
25, let's not
I
let
th-
another 25 years go by. We'll be 90 years old.
yes. And thanks for booking me and my wife and so many different shows
You guys
over
are
the years. That's
fantastic.
awesome.
And say hello to Bernadette for me.
I certainly will. Thanks, pal.
All right, brother.
Arrivederci.
Ciao.
Adios.
A succulent Chinese meal.
So long, Al. Have a good trip.
Don't forget to review us and rate us. It really helps.
The Talking Dicks became friends at a very young age, and the rest is history. This is the Two Owls, One Pod podcast. Thanks for tuning in.
Done.
I didn't kill my wife. I don't care.
We'll fix it in post, you son of a bitch.
All right.
Okay, so
All right. Subscribe. This was a horrible mistake.
Harry.
Patreon.com/2Als1Pod.
Go to patreon.com/forward2dicks.
If you shoot me, you won't see a cent of that money. Why?
I think it ends on that. That's beautiful.